The hot button issue was Ime Udoka being suspended for all the entire season. And initially when the news broke, you were very much in support of Ime. The question that I have for you, were you support of how the Celtics, damn, they suspend a man for the whole year, or how they handled the situation in suspending him?
I think it started before that was we got the Robert Sarver information.
Right.
And I've been saying he's a known racist since I left there in 2010. So we had that information for a couple of days. And then following the Ime situation loosely, and then once they dropped the suspension, that's where I was just like,
because at first when it was reported, they say he's going to be suspended, for the entire season, but he's not going to be fired. You're like, okay, what is he going to be suspended for?
Right.
So now all of a sudden the information starts to seep out. Yeah. He had a consensual relationship with a staffer.
Right.
And so that was basically all the information everybody had.
Right.
But obviously you received some information that the media, the public, the broad media, the public doesn't have.
Yeah. So I mean, with that, so again, initially, like you said, I went out there in defense from a standpoint of, being in the league as long as I've been in and being in corporations now, stuff like that happens a lot, So for me to hear he was suspended the same amount of time as someone who has sexually harassed and thrown racial slurs around an organization, it didn't make sense to me. The way Boston handled it could have been handled better. The way I came about it, maybe I could have handled it better. You know what I mean? But so when I made the post in his defense, as soon as I made the post, I gotta tell you, maybe 2 minutes later, I got a phone call. And this person is telling me what happened. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe I should take down my post. So I did it, but next morning I woke up and it hit the blog. So instead of being, I feel like so often in this space where if you're wrong, you just let it slide or the apology is really small. You know what I mean? So I came out and publicly said, hey, I misspoke before having all the information.
Right.
I'm apologized. It's a lot deeper than we know. And, I wish everybody the best. And, some people respected the fact that I came out and said that. And other people are like, oh, man, you're hating on this dude. You're doing this. Or if you're in the media, tell us what you heard. And I'm not someone that takes pride in dumping on our people.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think there's such a double-edged sword and such a double standard for us to even climb in the ranks we climb that, when I found out the news, I'm just like, man, if this comes out, it's going to be ugly, but I'm not going to be the one to have it come out.
Right.
So people started running with both sides of that. So it has been a whirlwind, man. And, hopefully everyone can, find some solace and some peace in it and work itself out.
I think a lot of it had to do, especially coming from us, is that who he's dating. Yeah. And you're like, man, how he gonna do her like that? And it's deeper than that, man, because look, being a professional athlete, we think we're invincible. Yeah. And then we've all done some things that we threw caution to the wind. It wasn't a fact that we making millions. It wasn't a fact that if this came out, it's gonna be really bad for us. And that moment at that time, that was the most important thing. Damn them millions. Damn who finds out about it.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree. And the one thing I definitely didn't touch on was the family dynamic, because I've done too many things to really even have a voice in that space. I'm the last one that's going to tell anyone on relationship advice or this and that, because you know how public and messy, my divorce was. So again, the fact that she is an icon in the space as far as acting and has such a, amazing reputation, that was something that everyone else was harping on, but that's what I didn't touch because I had already messed up in that space.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I wasn't going to be the one to criticize, oh, you shouldn't have did this or you shouldn't have did that. That wasn't me. Like I said, I came to his defense initially because I thought from what the information we had, that's a common thing that happens, not only in the NBA, but across the board.
Right. I think the thing is that maybe if they had said that, maybe they could have addressed it like, I may be going to take a year off to deal with some personal issues. And then that would have gave him an opportunity to cover. Mm-hmm. But when they leave it so broad, and everybody started to speculate, and then a day later, it comes out, well, there's no covering for that. There ain't no he taking time off. We're suspending him because the policy. And I understand both sides. I understand your point, what you're saying, that this happens more often than not. But I understand the corporation side of this. Yeah. Because when this thing hit the fan, the corporation is the one that potentially could be out of millions and millions. So they try to cover it like, bruh, there's 20 million people, there are 5 million people in Boston. Go find you one of them. Leave what's here. But it's a lot.
Yeah. I mean,
But you're around this person all the time.
it's
You see
deeper.
these people all the time. And you, hey, how you doing? You know, what's going on? You become, you know, you develop a relationship with these people.
But my whole thing is Uncle, you know, when you've been in professional sports and you're in the corporate business world now, like this is not the first situation.
No.
And I don't recall anyone else ever having to have it put on Front Street to begin with.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like normally, like internal business is internal business.
Right.
Whether they want to suspend them for a personal leave or personal reasons, that's fine. But I think again, the way it came out was
Somebody
just
had
like,
to leak that information.
I'm just like, damn. Like I said, I didn't been in the league for a long time, and I done seen some stuff. And
It never,
although people came, it may have been found out. It was never brought
right.
to the public.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I definitely think it was a smear campaign, and that's why initially I had jumped to his defense.
You know what to do. Hit the subscribe button and become an official member of Club Shay Shay, where we do something before two something.